Welcome to the much anticipated second episode of my TDS original series, The Rundown. Just to remind you, in these videos I tell you everything you need to know about a tower, such as its stats, some general strategy advice, I show you all the skins it currently has in the game, share some interesting trivia information, and then give you my overall opinion of it. All of this information comes from the official Tower Defense Simulator Wiki, which I will link in the description below. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. In this episode, I'll be covering a longtime fan favorite, the Slasher, formerly known as a Shredder. The Slasher is a short-range ground tower that was originally unlocked by triumphing on Nightmare Carnival as part of the Halloween 2019 event. It's also been available as a game pass for 250 Robux. The Slasher attacks by slashing and stabbing enemies with its knife. Unlike the Gladiator, which can hit multiple towers in a single attack, the Slasher is a single target tower. However, at level 2, every 4 seconds it can throw knives that pierce through enemies, dealing double damage compared to its melee damage. This allows it to hit more than one enemy. The main weakness of the Slasher is its short range. Now let's talk about the stats. This tower is going to cost $400 to place and it'll sell for $133 at its base level. It's a ground placement tower with no placement limit. The level 1 upgrade costs $250, adds 1 damage, and increases the fire rate from 1 to 0.8. The level 2 upgrade costs $300, increases the range by 1, adds hidden detection, and the single knife throw. The knife throw does 8 damage and has a 4-second reload. The level 3 upgrade costs $1,350, adds 2 damage, increases the stab rate from 0.8 to 0.5, and increases the damage of the knife throw to 12. And the level 4 upgrade costs $3,500, adds 4 damage, increases the stab rate from 0.5 to 0.35, and changes the single knife throw to a triple knife throw, with each knife doing 20 damage. Here's the stats table from the wiki to give you a snapshot image of how the tower changes at each level. Now I have to note here that the DPS does not take into account damage from the knife throw, so the actual DPS is going to be slightly higher. As you can tell, this is not a late game tower, and I'm not even really sure that it's a particularly good early game tower either. It has decent DPS for the price, but its range is just so limited that it's not able to attack enemies for very long. Of course, the DJ can boost the range, but I'll bring that up again later. I think your best bet is to place as many as you can along the path and then upgrade them to level 2. This gives them hidden detection and ensures they do consistent damage as the zombies travel towards your base. So for example, you can either get 30 DPS by spending 5,800 on one tower, or you can get that same DPS by spending 4,000 on 10 towers, since 10 slashers at level 0 would also do a combined 30 DPS, only it would be spread out. After this video, I'm going to be posting one where I see how far I can get soloing using only the slasher plus supports, and we'll find out if that's the best technique for using this tower. Okay, now let's cover some general strategy. Emphasizing what I said earlier, this tower can definitely hold its own early game. With good placement, it can kill the initial zombies without much trouble, but because of its short range, you're going to want to place it on the corners of the path. While you can boost that range with the DJ, the boost isn't going to be as big as it is with most other towers due to the slasher's low initial range. And it needs to be noted that the DJ does not boost melee attack range, only knife throwing range. One good thing about the knife throw is that it has a 100% range increase over the stabbing attack. This is not something you can activate, but instead it's a passive ability the tower does on its own. It has a 4-second cooldown, and if there's any enemy within its range, it'll immediately throw knives at them. This means that if it's been more than 4 seconds since the slasher attacked an enemy, it'll throw knives as soon as the next zombie gets within its area of attack. But while it's doing the knife throw, it cannot stab at zombies with its regular attack. And as for the knife throw, it can pierce 2 enemies, which means it can hit up to 3 enemies per throw. This is best when there's a horde of zombies. To get the most out of the knife throw, you're going to want to place the tower at the end or beginning of a straightaway. This ensures the zombies are lined up coming right at it or walking straight away from it. This gives the knives the best chance of hitting multiple enemies. At level 4, the slasher throws 3 knives instead of 1, but it does this in a fan-like fashion. This is another reason you want to have it right next to the path. That way it can hit the most zombies possible when there's a horde. And while the slasher is a cheap early game tower, towers like the minigunner or ranger are going to far outperform it in terms of DPS and range when you get to late game. So should the slasher be used to trigger hidden wave? No. Now, if you happen to have this tower and you're wondering what a good loadout is for it, I'd recommend something like Slasher for early game to kill the zombies while you farm, obviously the farm for money, DJ to boost its low range, the Commander to buff its attack rate, and Ranger for late game to make up for the low DPS and low range of the Slasher. Now I'm going to cover the skins that are available in the game for it. As of recording this video, there are 2 skins for this tower, the Springtime skin and the Spooky skin. I have the Spooky skin from the Halloween event, and luckily for you guys, I have some old footage of the Springtime skin skin I can show you right now. One thing you have to remember is that this was recorded before the overhaul update, so there's going to be 5 levels for this skin as opposed to the 4 that there are now. I really love this springtime skin because it's got a St. Patrick's Day vibe going on, and that's my birthday. So here at level 0, he's green and cool. Level 1 gives him a leprechaun jacket. Level 2 gives him 2 swords instead of 1 and the OP gloves. Level 3 adds a cape and a top hat. Level 4 crosses the swords and gives him glowing chains across his chest and glowing eyes. And level 5 is the level that no longer exists. Here he has the chainsaw. This is a cool look. It's too bad they got rid of it. Now this is the spooky skin I just recorded today. Level 0 is pretty plain. Level 1 gives him gloves and a bandana. Here at level 2 he gets the glowing eyes and the wraps on his arms. At level 3 he gets to dual wield his knives as well as a jacket. And level 4 gives him the top hat and the glowing chains. Now let's go over some tower trivia. This was the second melee tower to be added to the game, with the first being the gladiator. The slasher was loosely inspired by the knifer from Tower Battles, and before the overhaul update, way back when it was called the shredder, it had a knife throw ability which would make the slasher throw a piercing knife. When that ability was active, the slasher got a 200% range buff and the attack speed was set to 0.7. This ability had a 25-second cooldown. The tower was meant to receive a 500% damage buff with the ability, but this glitched and never happened. After the overhaul update, this ability became passive and is what we now know as the knife throw that it gets at level 2. And now for my much sought after opinion on the tower. I'm just gonna say it. I hate it. I never use it. I only bought it because I want to own every tower in the game. It really needs a range buff to become relevant again. I understand that not every tower is going to be a super powerful late game tower. Some of them just need to be there for low levels who are learning, or simply just starting towers you can place while you farm for the accelerator or minigunner. But this is an event tower. It's limited edition. If they don't bring it back as a game pass, you ain't getting it. I think all of the event towers should have something special about them so that they're more powerful than just the standard towers in the game. Even if it's just a unique ability that isn't really going to change the way the game's played. I worked hard for this tower. I earned it. I was playing TDS before anybody else. Or at least I had the Robux to buy it as a game pass. But at least bring back the ability that gives it a temporary damage buff of 500%. Or at least increase the range on it. Or possibly increase the number of knives it can throw. Or decrease the cooldown of the knife throw. Or something. So, in conclusion, is this tower hot or not? I'm gonna say not. Very not. I just have no reason to use it in my lineup ever. I actually used it the other day in a mega game on Sky Islands, and I have to admit, because of its cheap price, I was able to place it early, which helped, because no one ever places early game towers in mega. They all suddenly become farmers. But as soon as people started placing minigunners, the shredder is out. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but with this update came a buffer around the path, so you can't place your towers right up against it. This just further decreases the already limited range of the slasher. And I say this on behalf of all slashers everywhere. Give us some range below. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this tower. Am I right about this or am I wrong? Is it really not that bad? Is there a way to make it useful that I'm not thinking of? I just know that I don't use it and I never see anybody use it, so yeah. What does that tell you? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button with your forehead, hit that subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. Go ahead and join my growing Discord community. You can do that at discord.gg/JustHarrisonThings. I will see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say. Peace.